Okay, you're all set.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Hello. Hi, Deb.
Hi, how are you?
Good to see you. So tonight, of course, is a public meeting. It is a hearing of real property assessment grievances. And so we'll open this meeting, but part of the opening of the meeting will be for you to swear in, Deb. And so why don't we start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll go into the swearing in. So please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So you want to stand, Debbie, and repeat after me. It's very simple. So do you solemnly swear to that the information you are about to give will be given accurately and truthfully to the best of your ability to do so?
I do.
Very good. Thank you. So there are 5 appeals, and we have not received any others today. So it is simply the 5, and everyone, I believe, was forwarded those appeals. And Deb, if you want to be our guiding light here, if you want to kind of review at least what they are to the board. And,
sure.
And then from there, we will go directly into executive session to discuss it further.
Okay. So yes, there are 5 appeals that I have received from Raina, and those 5 all have been filed by a tax rep out of Huntington Station, New York, by the name of Aventine. They do mass mailings and receive a fair amount of complaints from them from Long Island on upstate. The 5 that have been filed, I forwarded copies to the board of those actual appeals. I have also provided to you copies of information sheets on each of those properties that also have a comparison with the properties that they provided as comp sales. One of the 5 did not provide any comp sales. However, it was a subject sale. That property was not an arm's length transaction. However, the other 4 complaints had 1 comp sale provided with each of those. I also provided to you a copy of real property tax law section 524 with section 3 highlighted, which in part states that authorizations from property owners to a representative have to be signed within the calendar year for which the appeal is filed. In all 5 of these cases, those authorizations were signed in early 2021. So in my opinion, these authorizations are not valid. We can go through each one of them briefly. If there are any questions for me, feel free to ask. First one is going to be section 217, block 10, lot 4. And you will notice on well, actually, this one is slightly different. The full market value that they are requesting is the actual sale price. This is the complaint that I indicated, that the sale was not an arm's length transaction, but according to the attorney for the buyer, when I received the transfer was between family members. It was the mother was the seller of the property, and the buyers had already lived in the property, so that would not be considered a typical market transaction, and subsequently an invalid sale for determining market value. That is the only information provided with this complaint. The next property is 219-131. This one, they provided one comp sale. This property is a colonial built in 1999, 2,521 square feet with finished basement. The assessment relates to a full market value of $450,400 for this year's village assessment roll. The comparable property that they provided is much smaller, no garage, no finished basement, 1,560 square feet. It sold in October of 2019 for $282,000. I failed to mention in the beginning, the 2022 level of assessment for the village of Warwick is 12.5%. And the valuation date for the 2022 village assessment roll is January 1st, 2022. So a sale in 2019 is, quite a bit out of date. There were no adjustments for time, even if this were an appropriate comp sale to use. Next, we have 221 Block 1, Lot 49, a 3,083 square foot colonial. This one also, one comparable sale was provided. However, the information provided was kind of a mishmash of two different properties. The house inventory and the assessment information provided was for 19 Park Avenue in the village of Warwick. However, the actual sale date and sale price was for a property in Greenwood Lake. So incorrect information. The property in Warwick has not sold, so it's not considered an appropriate comparable. Next property is 221-153. A 2016 square foot colonial, built 2005, full market value, $420,000. The comparable sale provided, also a 2019 sale. Property is slightly, the home is slightly larger, 2,574 square feet. However, it was built in 1905. The current assessment is actually less than the subject's own sale in 2018. And lastly, we have section 231, block 1, lot 37.2, which is a 1,582 square foot ranch built in 2011. And again, same comp sale as the last property. An old style home built in 1905 was used as a comparable, which sold in 2019. Again, long before the valuation date, and not comparable considering its size and age. and style to the subject property. So those are the 5 complaints. If you have any questions, need any further information when you break to make your determinations, if that's going to happen today, I can provide that information. And otherwise, I will see if there are any questions for me.
I guess my question is about the time period where that these petitions were actually sent to us, and are they all disqualified? Basically, it sounded like that's what you were saying.
They were, the petitions themselves were filed timely. The authorizations should they move forward if you don't make any adjustment, a subsequent small claims or other cases filed, I would make the argument that the authorizations aren't valid because of when they were signed. And that would be for a hearing officer or a judge to make a determination on. But I did provide you a copy of the law there, which states that they do have to be within the calendar year that the appeal is filed.
Did all these folks give the same information to the town when they were in front of the town?
Yes, my capacity also as the town assessor, all 5 of these properties did have appeals filed with the town last year. Subsequent small claims filings were filed, and the petitioner, the tax rep, actually withdrew all of them and agreed to no change because they felt that there was no case when it came down to the actual small claims being scheduled.
Okay.
So the town's level of assessment last year was also 12.5%, the same as the villages this year. So in a sense, they've already, acknowledged that there's no case and no reduction necessary.
I have a question about the comps, and some of them just seem kind of inappropriate or the wrong comp for specific properties. Either they're too old or they're so there's a real differentiation in newer buildings built in the past even 20 years and buildings that were built at the beginning of the last century so it's that seems kind of odd. I feel like that it's not apples to apples here, and in that respect, I find it's hard to really give credit in terms of some of these requests. So
I would agree with that. I do not consider any of the comparables provided to be comparable, and also particularly in the market that we've been in the last couple of years, to not use more current sales is also inappropriate, and certainly to not at least time adjust them, even if they were. My experience is what you have there is typical for filings from this company.
Is it pretty standard to pull one comp, or is it usually preferred to pull more than one?
I would say, the old adage, one sale doesn't make a market, certainly holds true. A subject sale can certainly hold a lot of weight if it's typical for the market. But otherwise, no, you would never hire an appraiser who appraises your property with using only one sale. It's not proper, really. I would say minimum of 3, up to 5. Sometimes you'll see a few more. If it's a more difficult property to appraise, they may try to bracket with additional properties. But I would say a minimum of 3.
Barry, are you with us or?
Yeah, I'm having some stability problems with my internet, so I shut
Oh.
down my video.
Okay, okay. Gentlemen, if we wanted further discussion, we could go into executive session, but do you feel it's necessary? And can we make a determination publicly right now?
I would say you probably can do that. However, I am by law not allowed to be part of your determination discussions.
Okay,
So, however you want to deal with that,
okay.
I can kind of disappear for a bit while you discuss, or
Well,
do it
we can,
later.
yeah, well, we can go into executive session and come
Mhm.
back. Raina, correct? I mean, give me some guidance here, how we can do that.
Well, if there are, as we did last year, if there are no further appointments, which we do not have any appointments scheduled, I believe that last year at this point, Deborah, you did sign off. And then we ended this Zoom meeting explaining to the public that there are no further appointments. And then I reissued another Zoom link for the board to go into executive session.
So, board, is that okay
Yeah.
with you? You want
Sure,
to do
fine with
that?
me.
Yeah. Corey, is that okay? Yeah.
So,
And-
so the decision we make is made in executive session, or do we have to reconvene in the meeting?
I would think we would have to reconvene.
So you were going to make your decisions, and you were going to notify me of your decisions. And then, any changes that you decide to make, I therefore would be changing the assessment roll. If there are no changes, then letters will be produced that will go to the actual representative on behalf of the property owners.
Does our decision come through a letter from the village, or do we have to go back into a Zoom session?
No, the board would just notify me of your decisions.
Okay.
And I'd be happy to do the letters, and just drop them off at the village hall. Mayor, Raina can review them before they get mailed out.
Okay.
But I can facilitate the actual letters, but the letters will come from the village board.
Okay, very good. So, executive session, where is my dandy? Okay. So may I have a motion to go into executive session for the proposed acquisition, sale, lease of real property, or the proposed acquisition of securities or sale or exchange of securities held by such public bodies, but only when publicly would substantially affect the value thereof.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Deb, thank you very
Aye.
much. We will be in touch with you tomorrow.
Okay. Very
Okay.
good.
Thank you very much.
All
Thank
right. Good night.
Good night.
I'll send a new link out to the